Hey guys, welcome to another MapleStory 2 Beginner to Pro episode, and today I'll be covering over everything you need to know about dungeons. This isn't going to be a video on how to take on each separate dungeon, but more what you need to know about doing dungeons as a whole, the fundamental stuff, whether it be normal dungeons, hard dungeons, or chaos dungeons coming out in the future. Also, for the next week or so, I'm going to be trying out different editors to see if I can get some help with uploading my vids, since it's pretty hard doing daily videos while being busy with college and life and stuff. Hope you guys don't mind. I know a lot of you guys do enjoy the daily content and I'm trying my best to deliver, and let me know your feedback in the comment section below. Okay, just another short reminder that if you haven't watched all previous episodes up until now, I recommend you pause this video and go watch them so you can stay on track with progression. Dungeons are a pretty core mechanic in MapleStory 2. That's almost kind of like the MS1 counterpart of party questing, which I'm sure we all miss, and that's the main source of obtaining your equipment and means of income. Normal and hard dungeons have a maximum party count of 4. You're allowed to enter solo if you want to or have less players, but the most you can have is 4. Chaos raids or chaos dungeons can have the full party limit of 10 due to their overwhelming difficulty. Unlike MapleStory 1 where it's possible for pretty much any single class to solo a boss at their own leisure, in MapleStory 2 that's not so much the case. The main incentive for soloing in MS1 is that you would get all the drops to yourself, instead of having to distribute them across your party. But in MapleStory 2, the individual quantity of drops you obtain remains constant regardless of how many players there are, and the difficulty of the boss doesn't change at all. So if anything, you're putting more work onto yourself for less gain if you choose to go in alone. Unless you're trying to be Kirito for some reason, then in that case go right ahead. I mentioned in the previous videos that your character should be at least 1500 gear score because that's the gear score requirement to enter normal dungeons. Hard dungeons require 2100 gear score, and I do believe that chaos raids will require at least 3600 to 3800, but do not quote me on that. Don't worry, I'll make a video upgrading your gear score later on in case you guys are still confused with that. To access your dungeon directory, you can either click on the glow block icon and select challenge map, or press the semicolon hotkey to open it all together. On the challenge map, you'll see a bunch of things. The two things on the top are normal and hard adventure, which will allow you to automatically queue up for a party in normal and hard dungeons. The gear icon allows you to filter out which dungeons you want to queue for, which is pretty convenient. Normally it's better to form a party manually before going in, but if you struggle to find people to play with, you can find a party that way. It's kind of like solo queuing in League of Legends. Just be wary though that people who queue up for parties tend to leave right away if their party members aren't that great, and because they're uncoordinated and most of the people that queue up are inexperienced, you might run into some toxic people here and there. It's the only part of the game that I think is kind of annoying, hence why you should make your own parties. If you want to form a party in a more structured way but you don't really have any people that you can hang out with, check out that icon on the bottom left of the challenge map called Party Finder, which you can also find by clicking on the blue head icon on the bottom right of your screen, and there you can create a party listing requesting only certain types of party members, classes, or even listing for a specific dungeon. You can either choose to create your own party recruitment or join others. There's a lot of cool things about this, such as whispering party leaders for specific questions, checking out the party leader's gear score, filtering your search for specific dungeons, and whatnot. Play around with it for a little bit. It is a nice touch that they added to the game. Back to the challenge map though. Below the queue tabs you'll see a tab called Dungeons Cleared. You can only receive rewards from 10 cleared dungeons per day and up to 30 per week. Every time you clear a certain amount of dungeons based on that little milestone counter, you'll be rewarded with bonus experience and meso, along with a box that yields a variety of catalysts like onyx crystals, chaos onyx crystals, and crystal ores. Down to the cute little map with all the other icons, we have Dark Descent, a rather ominous looking tombstone icon which takes you to a gauntlet type dungeon where you have to keep killing monsters until you die or give up. It's the MapleStory 2 equivalent of Mulong Dojo. In other words, it doesn't really provide any lucrative rewards, more so just bragging rights to see how strong you are. I don't do Dark Descent personally because I don't see the point, but if you can prove me otherwise, then by all means. Below that is the Premium Dungeon. I already did explain what Premium Dungeons are in the Daily Quest video, so that need not be reiterated. The other two dungeons on the bottom right are Special and Treasure. They're interesting cases where you need certain items or requirements to enter, at least for the Treasure Dungeon, and they're pretty useful. For example, to enter the Treasure Dungeons you need to have a certain key, and the rewards are great, but I've only been in there once, so I don't really know exactly how to get it. The main icon you want to check out is the Dungeon Directory, which I'm sure is the only thing you guys really cared about. The Dungeon Directory holds all regular dungeons in MapleStory 2, normal, hard, and chaos in the upcoming future. Each one lists the gear score requirement, minimum level, the party limit, and the possible rewards you can get, starting with the rarest ones and going down to the most common ones. Dungeons all share a total count of 10 per day and 30 per week, barring Premium, Special, and Treasure dungeons, so if you want to make the most out of your character's weekly dungeon limits, then take on the highest rewarding dungeons you can go after. Some dungeons have occasional tips, such as Fire Dragon recommending a priest and Temple of Immortals recommending knights, which you should definitely read up on. I also want to remind you that hard dungeons have limited safe revives, so you do have a death counter, and I believe chaos raids have it as well. In terms of what dungeons you should do, that all depends on your current standing. If you're at the 1500 gear score stage, you should focus exclusively on 2 dungeons, Tronic's Bunker and Lingering Darkness, since those are the most straightforward to accomplish. For hard dungeons it really depends. All 6 of them are pretty valuable in what they drop, but depending on which hard dungeon weapon you have, you might want to farm that specific dungeon to get as many spare copies of your weapon as you can, which I will cover in a later video. And that typically means you're going to be doing Fire Dragon a lot of times, so hope you guys are looking forward to that. If you need help on any dungeons, there are a ton of content creators posting guides on how to take them on. I myself chose not to make any of those videos just because I feel like I want to cover something else because everyone else is doing it. But just do some digging and I'm sure you'll eventually get the hang of it. Well, that pretty much covers it. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments section below, but I hope this was helpful. As always, be sure to ask whatever questions you wish and I'll do my best to answer them. And once again, thanks to Max for the trial video. I want you guys to leave some feedback on how the video went and whether or not you wanted to keep editing. Just remember, be respectful. It's possible to leave constructive criticism without being an asshole. Other editors will be coming in soon, so I guess we'll be doing a little bit of cherry picking and I'll ask you guys, the viewers, whether or not you want to choose a specific editor. But for now, that should be it. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you guys again soon in the next video. Take care.